Tonight on 10 News at 6, an accidental emergency alert panics thousands across East Tennessee.
That response time, the adrenaline that happens, the dump, it's overwhelming.
We're answering your questions about what different types of alerts mean and how you can be prepared in case a real one comes in.
We've got scattered storms moving across the area and more rain is on the way for your Sunday. We'll break down that weekend forecast coming up.
Slashed my throat, stabbed me 3 times in the chest, and handcuffed me to a tree and left me for dead.
A woman who survived a brutal attack is sharing her story, what she remembers about the terrifying night.
10 News is brought to you in high definition exclusively by Harper Auto Square. WBIR 10 News starts now.
Thousands of people were scared and confused after getting this emergency alert on their phones. But it was a mistake. Blount County emergency management officials say they were working on a missing child alert when the system malfunctioned, sending the false notification. Now, police say that child is now safe, and later another alert told people that there was no emergency. Now officials are apologizing for what happened. The Blount County Emergency Management Agency says it, quote, regrets any inconvenience or alarm this may have caused. While emergency management tests the system regularly, we will be working with our software vendor to determine the cause of that malfunction. Now, dozens of you have reached out to us with questions and concerns about these emergency alerts. Sarah Mapes asked us to explain what types of alerts the public might get on their phones. According to the Department of Homeland Security, there are 3 types of alerts. The first is an Amber Alert. Those you're familiar with. They're issued on the most serious child abduction cases. Second is a presidential alert in the case of a national emergency. And third is an imminent threat. Officials say those alerts are mostly for extreme weather, but can also be for any threatening emergency in your area. In all 3 cases, these alerts should tell you how to respond, whether it's to evacuate, to take cover, or to be on the lookout for an abducted child. And for many of you who've reached out to us today, this all served as a big wake-up call and begged the question, what if this was real? We talked to first responders to learn what you need to do to be prepared in a real emergency.
They thought it was a bomb.
When Andrew Wimbley and his parents saw this alert on their phones, they, like many others in Blount County, were worried.
My parents are old school, so when something like it happens, it scares them to the utmost highest.
When they got this alert about an hour later, worry turned to confusion.
It was really weird. About an hour later, we got the text back saying, please just disregard.
A whirlwind of emotion that brought up a big question. What if the alarm was real? DJ Corcoran with Knoxville Fire Department says being prepared comes down to knowing the emergency at hand and having a kit for anything.
You want to have a flashlight. You might want to have a weather radio or some kind of battery-operated radio. You want to have some bottled water. If you're on medication, you want to make sure that you have at least a couple of days worth of your medication that you're on. Another thing that you might want to keep in that emergency pack is a wireless charger for your phone.
Corcoran says where you put that Go kit comes down to lifestyle.
If you're mostly at home, you'd probably want that kit inside your home. If you're on the road, you might want to have maybe possibly 2 kits.
After that, FEMA also recommends having some extra cash on hand, having an emergency escape plan, and having a family communication plan. Back in Blount County, Wimbley and his family are just happy that this alarm was a false alarm.
The relief is nice. You just know that everything's okay. You don't have to worry about anything. Just everything you put a pause on, now you can start back up.
If you have any questions about being prepared for different emergencies, we do have a list of FEMA's tips on our website, WBIR.com. And if you have any questions for us, concerns, or even a story idea, let us know. Email 10listens@WBIR.com, or you can call the number on your screen. We're going to switch gears to the forecast now. More rain is headed our way, and this rain comes as people are still cleaning up from last night's storms. Thanks to Eva Dranis for sending us these photos of downed trees in East Knoxville. Cassie Null's in the Weather Center tracking all this for us. Cassie, these storms aren't quite as widespread as they were yesterday.
No, what we have going through the area, number 1, not as widespread, and number 2, not nearly as strong as the storms that we ended up seeing last night, but they are, making their presence known across the area this afternoon. We do actually have one severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southern McMinn County right now. That does include Calhoun, and it's actually just south of Etowah. This storm could be producing some maybe quarter-size hail as well as very gusty winds. We also have a good little storm going in southern Monroe County to the south of Tellico Plains as well. We have some fizzling showers in parts of Sevier County and storms moving out of Claiborne into Granger County, eventually getting into Hamlin. Also storm right near Jefferson City too. And back off to the west on the plateau, a few more showers are beginning to develop. Now, any of this activity today could produce some maybe small hail as well as some gusty winds across the area, but for the most part, the storms should stay below severe limits. This pattern, though, that's changing will bring us more clouds and more showers as we go into our Sunday as an area of low pressure drops in from the north. It's more of a typical maybe springtime forecast rather than what we would see in the middle of July. We will break it down for you and tell you when you'll be needing the umbrellas coming up in just a little bit. With that, I'll send it back to you.
See you in just a few minutes for that, Cassie. Thanks. And if you want to see when that rain will hit your neighborhood, you can download the WBIR weather app. There you can track the live radar and hour-by-hour forecast. Also, you can sign up for severe weather alerts and send us any photos that you have. It's free in the App Store. Family members and friends of two women brutally attacked in Hamlin County are protesting. That's because the man convicted of the attack 38 years ago tonight is now up for parole. Randy May murdered and raped 16-year-old Mary Jones and tried to do the same to her friend. WBIR 10 News reporter Cole Sullivan spoke to the woman who survived that attack. She says she wants her attacker to die behind bars.
He vowed to kill me.
In 1980, Mitzi Holt Sizemore was only a teenager
It's hard to even look at him.
when Randy May, pretending to be a police officer, picked up her and her friend Mary Jones.
He thought I was pretty.
He brought them into the woods of Hamlin County.
And his face is what I remember. It was right there at me.
May had a knife.
15-year-old little skinny girl, you know, against a grown man like that.
She tried to fight back.
He sliced my throat, stabbed me 3 times in the chest, and handcuffed me to a tree and left me for dead. That is a monster, if there ever was one.
Her friend Mary Jones died that night. May murdered and raped her. She was only 16.
And I lost her. It was like a sister.
I can't shake that case.
Sheriff Esco Jarnigan worked the scene when he was a crime scene investigator for the Morristown Police Department.
Every time I see a little redhead girl, I think about Mary Jones.
Now her killer is up for parole in August.
What, so he can savage some more, brutally rape and murder some more young girls?
Friends and family of the two women are protesting, hoping to get the word out and keep May behind bars.
For the community, for wherever he's going to live.
They say he's still dangerous,
He's a demon monster, and that's what he'll always be.
and it's already hard enough to sleep as it is.
I wake up screaming in the middle of the night, fighting him. Because me and him fought. I fought him with all I had in me.
The sheriff is among those who have written letters to the parole board.
It's about him paying for that terrible, horrific, the worst crime that I had investigated since I've been in law enforcement.
As Sizemore prepares to plead to keep the man who attacked her and her friend behind bars.
I look at her picture every day, and I promise her, Mary Honey, I'll do everything I can to keep him in there.
In Morristown, Cole Sullivan, WBIR 10 News.
One man is dead and another is in the hospital after officers found them with gunshot wounds in a hotel parking lot. Sevierville police officers say they found both men in the Hampton Inn parking lot on Winfield Dunn Parkway just before midnight last night. Officials say 27-year-old Jamie Barron died after being shot in the head, and 28-year-old James Moyer is at UT Medical Center recovering from a gunshot to the torso. Police say they're still investigating the details of that shooting. Knoxville police say a man is recovering after being shot and chased by a group of men earlier this morning. Officers say the shooting happened on East Jackson Avenue in North Knoxville. 32-year-old James Hunter Jr. says he was approached by a group of men who demanded money before chasing after him and shooting him. He then went to UT Medical Center with a non-life-threatening injury. Police are looking into that shooting too. As the OD epidemic continues to claim lives, we are reporting the number of suspected overdose deaths this month to highlight the issue. The District Attorney General's office says 17 people have died of a suspected overdose just in Knox County since the beginning of this month, and 171 died so far this year. Nearly 300 people died of an OD in all of last year. And if you or someone you know needs help, we do have a list of resources online at WBIR.com. Just go to the menu at the top of the screen and click the Features tab, then scroll down and choose OD Epidemic. And some people spent their Saturday making the Clinch River a lot cleaner. 10 News reporter Katie Inman was at the river earlier today where volunteers took thousands of pounds of trash back where it belongs.
Yeah, and we're so thankful that the weather held off this morning so they were able to do this great event and collect so much trash. And even though there's signs all around that say no littering and no dumping, people still continue to do it. And the volunteers that care about keeping the Clinch River beautiful are what keep this organization going every single year.
I probably see trash maybe 1 out of 3 trips. But the river's not the place for that stuff, obviously, so.
Crews were out in the river wading, boating, and along the road picking up the litter they saw, and some picked up quite a bit by themselves.
Yeah, almost 4 bags of trash, which is sad, very sad.
Most of what was found was beer cans and tires, which makes those who spend a lot of time at the river upset.
I'm a fisherman. I like to wade fish, fly fish, and I kayak too, so I just think it's very important to keep the river clean.
It's really frustrating to me that people don't realize what the impact that because it all gets washed into the watershed and it all winds up on the banks.
The volunteers feel so passionately about the Clinch River area because of all it offers.
It's just the resource that people in this area really use. It's the reason I moved down here.
This is a beautiful place, and we want to keep it beautiful.
So when it comes to litterers, the cleanup crew has a piece of advice.
Leave only footprints. Anywhere you go, just leave only footprints.
For 10 News, I'm Katie Inman.
The cleanup organizers say they pull about the same amount of trash out of this river every year. And over 8,000 tires have been pulled from the river since the cleanup program started 6 years ago. Still to come, the Boys and Girls Club gets a fun day filled with basketball, how the game is bringing kids in the community together. Plus, the Vols picked to finish second to last in the SEC East. What factors push media members to make that choice?
Straight from the heart of East Tennessee, this is 10 News at 6.
Kids of all needs were balling out and having fun at the Boys and Girls Club in Oak Ridge today. Angela and Dominic Wright held the first ever Camp Daniel, a basketball and cheer clinic for kids with special needs and their families. Both hosts have long careers in basketball. The clinic was named after Angela's brother, who passed away from complications from Down syndrome. And basketball wasn't the only focus of the clinic.
And so we wanted to do something that's bigger than that, connect with the community, do something that's bigger than ourselves and bigger than just the game, but allow this to be a special opportunity for us to love on others with these special needs individuals, these families, and letting them know how truly special they are to us.
The Wrights say they plan to hold this free camp every summer for local kids with special needs. Turning to the forecast now, we saw some sunshine today, but Cassie, rain chances are returning.
They are. We do have the scattered showers around the area right now, a few thunderstorms mixed in there as well. But as you said, we did see the sun. We had some drier air this morning. Our temperature started off in the 60s today.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a change as we've gone through the last 48 hours, really, as a matter of fact, with the strong storms last night. Well, let's take a look at our Look Rock camera. This kind of tells you what's going on. You can see that we do have the sun shining, but also the shadows of the clouds showing up there on the trees, and the lower clouds developing off in the distance with the gray skies from the rain that's happening well off to, I believe that's the northeast, the direction that this camera faces. Now, today, we started off at 64 degrees at the McGee-Tyson Airport. Our average is 69, so we actually were 5 degrees below average when we started the day, and that's because we ended up having some drier air moving into the region. So if you went outside this morning, it felt almost refreshing. It felt great. And through a lot of the afternoon, it felt pretty good too, thanks to those lower dew points, but the humidity has returned, and our high officially today, 1 degree below average at 87 degrees, 1.21 inches of rain so far today. At the McGee-Tyson Airport, we have a surplus for the month, a surplus for the season, and a surplus for the year thanks to that very heavy rain that moved through last night and through the morning hours today. So why did it feel so much better? Well, yesterday, as those storms were moving through, we had dew points in the upper 60s and the lower 70s. We also had very heavy rain and, of course, a lot of severe weather across the area. Once the storms moved through, though, they pushed some drier air from the mid-levels of the atmosphere down to the surface and actually have sinking air a little bit behind storms like that. So that dried us out really nicely this morning and made it feel great until just about after the noon hour. And since then, we've seen the humidity coming on back up. We've also seen more clouds developing because of that. This is a live look at our Alcoa highway camera. 80 degrees now in Knoxville. That temperature has come down thanks to a thunderstorm that moved through about an hour ago. It feels like 83, though, dew point right now in the upper 60s. So temperatures around the area, upper 70s, lower to middle 80s, generally below average. That does have to do with some slightly cooler air that has come in from the north, but also the extra clouds that we're seeing around the area and kind of the leftovers from the storms that we had last night. Now this afternoon, we do have some storms down here to the south. Looks like the severe thunderstorm warning, just expired right there. We have some stronger storms moving to the south of Tellico Plains right now in southern Monroe County, a little storm to the south of Sweetwater, a few scattered showers up on the plateau and near La Follette, and then right near the Morristown area near Tazewell, dropping down towards the east-southeast at about 20 miles per hour. Some scattered storms up in that area as well. Now, this is all thanks to an upper-level area of low pressure. You can see it swirling up here over Indiana. This time of year, those low-pressure systems should typically continue off to the northeast, and we would see clearing skies behind them. However, in this particular case, this low-pressure system is actually going to drop down to the south. It's what we call a cutoff low-pressure system, as in it's separated from the jet stream. So now it's meandering, and here it comes to visit us here in East Tennessee. So what that means is that overnight tonight, we'll see a few scattered showers across the area, and then tomorrow, I think the rain chances will be a bit more widespread than they were today. We'll also have more clouds in our skies. Generally keep the umbrellas handy. The threat of severe weather is very low for the day tomorrow, just a couple thunderstorms thrown in there. And then, because that low pressure area doesn't go anywhere anytime fast, we'll keep a similar pattern in place as we go into the day on Monday too. So what that means for your temperatures over the next 7 days, near or below average. Tomorrow, we'll very likely see highs only in the upper 70s and lower 80s. It's mid-July. We should be closer to 90 degrees. So yeah, that's going to be because of the clouds and showers. So keep the umbrellas handy, and then a slow rise with the temperatures, but generally staying below normal for the next 7 days.
Think we can handle that 7 day?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too bad. We've got the rain, though, so definitely keep the umbrellas handy.
All right, sounds good. Cassie, thanks so much. Well, still to come, there's a lot of talent on the Tennessee team. But next, why the SEC East will be an uphill climb for the Vols.
After finishing winless in conference last season, the Vols are picked to finish very low in the SEC East. It shouldn't really be a surprise. Now, this is a situation where media members aren't going to believe Tennessee is good until they see it on the field. There is talent on this team, so why so low in the standings? Well, there's a lot of uncertainty. There are unknowns with this team, but honestly, a lot of it is out of their control. I'm talking about the schedule. It really is the schedule. Florida at Georgia, at Auburn versus Alabama, at South Carolina. Find a tougher 5-game stretch in the country. I don't know if you can. It's difficult even for a team that's had years playing together. The Vols probably won't be favored in any of those games. That's a really tough stretch. Now, Pruitt did point toward one positive during SEC Media Days, the weight room and conditioning, an area the Vols have struggled with in years past.
I think Coach Fitz has done a really good job getting the guys to buy in down there. They compete really hard. Rachel's done a great job from the nutrition standpoint. So our guys have grown this summer, and we needed to. They seem to be in really good condition, but we'll know a little bit after we get out there and start practice.
But sometimes a new face of head coach can give a team a spark. Either way, there will be little margin for error if Tennessee hopes to make a bowl game. Now, to high school football we go. Morristown West is in the second year with head coach Alvin Sanders, and year one was full of injuries from the word go. The good news, that gave some of the younger players for the Trojans a chance to step up, putting themselves in a good position for this season.
And we've always preached the power of the link, the next man up in our chain. And last season gave us an opportunity to really preach that and see that. Like, hey, you got to be ready for your numbers called. And so after going through that now, the kids have that visual. They know they need to be ready. So everything we do is predicated on that.
And for the second season in a row, Game 1 will be a showdown against in-town rival Morristown East. Daniel, football, I love it.
It's exciting. Another great sportscast. Lewis, thanks so much. Still to come, the Lip Sync Challenge continues. See how the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office took not one, but 2 songs. Tonight, the Law Enforcement Lip Sync Challenge continues. This time, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is bringing back boy bands. Take a look. Oh, it's too good. That is right. The deputies lip synced to One Direction's What Makes You Beautiful. But then, they took it a step further with some dirty work. Oh man, just too good, too good. So many people like this video. It has been shared more than 7,000 times on Facebook and counting. And you can see why. The lights in that video were,
the lighting was fantastic.
and they just have you still dancing.
I was a big fan of like the puddles, you know, like they were splashing through in the first one. That was great.
Yeah?
I was a fan.
Are we just gonna dance it out?
I think we should.
All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at 11 for the Night Beat.